So in today's video, I'll be going over how to choose road handlebars. So what you should look out for and what really matters. So make sure you stay till the end of the video to find out how to choose the right road handlebars for you. So the first thing that you are most likely to come across whenever you're choosing a road handlebar is the material of the bar. It could be made of alloy or it could also be made of carbon. Now the main differences between the both of the material is number one, the weight, and secondly, the riding qualities of it. So the comfort and stiffness of the handlebar. Now among the two of those differences, the one that matters more for me is really the weight. Because the weight saving whenever you change from an alloy bar to a carbon bar can really be tell and you can really feel the difference. So it could be anywhere from 100 grams to 200-300 grams of saving, and that is a weight saving that you can definitely tell whenever you go out onto the road. But when it comes to ride quality, yes, I do hear some people say that, you know, a carbon bar is stiffer or an alloy bar is stiffer, and then either one of them is more comfortable. But for me, the type of riding that I do and the way I ride, I can't really tell a difference whether or not either one of them is stiffer or more comfortable. So for me, I don't really take that into consideration when it comes to choosing between carbon and alloy. But what a carbon bar can do that a alloy bar cannot is that a carbon bar can have more complicated shapes, which is what we're going to talk about next. So the next thing to consider is actually the shape of the handlebar. Now different type of handlebar can have different types of drop, and the main differences in them is really how deep the drop is. So on bigger handlebars, it will most likely have a deeper drop, and on smaller handlebars like this, it most likely will have a shallower drop. So what this allows is that shallower drop allows smaller riders like me to ride in a drop for longer, because it is a lot more comfortable because you do not have to bend so far forward in order to ride the drops. And another part of the handlebar where you can really see a shape difference is the top part of the handlebar. And more specifically, if we're comparing a carbon aero bar with a traditional alloy bar. Now we mentioned just now that with carbon, manufacturers are allowed to create design that is much more complicated and much more aerodynamic. And that is why you see a lot of aero road handlebars are made of carbon and not alloy. And also some particular aero handlebars like the one I have here, you can see that apart from it being more aero, they are also able to manufacture some sort of like groove or mini dots here to improve the texture of the handlebar, and which in result improves the grip of the handlebar. So even if you're not wearing gloves while you're riding, or maybe if you like to put your elbows here, it is not as easy for your hand to slide because of those grooves and those textures compared to something like an alloy bar where it is just a smooth surface. So if you are someone who's very particular about the shape of the handlebar, maybe you specifically want to go for an aero handlebar, then at this point the only option for you is to pretty much go for a carbon handlebar, because only carbon handlebars are able to manufacture these sort of aero shapes. But apart from the shape of the handlebar, so the top part and of course the drop part of the bar, something that I prioritize most when it comes to choosing handlebar is the width of the handlebar, which is what we're going to talk about next. So if there is one thing that is most important to me when it comes to choosing handlebars, it will be the width of the handlebar, because if you get this measurement right, it can really change your riding experience. So it is a straightforward measurement to measure. All you have to do is, if you have a handlebar, just put it up against your shoulder, and the widest part of the handlebar should not be wider than your shoulder. Now from here you can definitely make changes according to your preferences, so you can size up or size down according to your preferences. But for me, I find that this measurement alone works well for me, and I find really improves my riding experiences. But if I were to make a preference here, I will actually size down from what I have here to make sure I have a narrower cockpit and make myself more aerodynamic. So that leaves us with the question of which one should you choose, the alloy or the carbon? And I think the answer to this is pretty straightforward. If you are specifically looking for an aero handlebar, if weight really matters to you and you want the lightest of everything, and And if you have the budget for a carbon handlebar, then I would say by all means just go for the carbon handlebar. But if not, I think the alloy handlebar is perfectly good enough as well. Although it is a little bit heavier, maybe it is not as aero as a aero handlebar, but what you get from an alloy bar is that it is a lot more durable. If you were to accidentally drop your bike, or maybe if you fall off your bike, you are less likely to damage a alloy handlebar compared to a carbon handlebar. So if that is something that really matters to you, then remember to take that into consideration as well. But apart from that, there really isn't much differences when it comes to choosing handlebars. The right qualities of it, comfort and stiffness, I can't really feel a difference between an alloy and a carbon, so for me, I don't really take that into consideration. But if you can feel the comfort and stiffness difference of a carbon and an alloy, then by all means choose whichever one that fits your need. So that is really all about it when it comes to choosing the right road handlebars for you. Quite a simple and straightforward one, so remember to let me know down in the comments on which type of handlebar do you choose. Do you choose an aero bar or a round bar? Do you choose to ride carbon or alloy? And let me know why also. So remember to subscribe to this channel for more cycling related tips and tricks.